Peace and blessings, everybody. Welcome. This is Space Invaders TV. Welcome to the YouTube channel here. I'm your guy, Rashawn, aka Looker. Yes, yes. Peace and blessings to you all. Welcome back to my subscribers and welcome to the new subscribers here to Space Invaders TV. Make sure spread the videos around. If you enjoy them, if you're getting information and you feel like it's really informative for you, as I hope it is, tell a friend and tell a friend. It costs you nothing. I'm not here charging anybody for anything. This is each one teach one, and at the end of the day, it's about these students. Student lives matter. That's what it's about, and we just pushing the message on that. And I'm gonna continue to talk about the Guilford County school systems and any other school system that pops up on my radar, you know, that I feel, that needs to be spoken on. But right now, I'm just focused on the Guilford County school system because, as I've said in the past, I have a child in the Guilford County school system, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing at all. You know, so if you haven't checked out any of the previous videos where I've been speaking on Guilford County school system, I I I highly suggest that you go back and look at them because um, every week I'm giving information, and the information I'm giving, it's it's walking you through. It's step by step, and I'm showing you and giving you what Miss Sharon Contreras is about, um, and so you can better understand. So when you do see her, whenever she gives interviews, you will clearly understand that her mission is not for these children. It haven't been about these children. She's about herself and whatever her special interests, those groups. And I can't prove it, uh, but I will put I will put something on it that she has practiced and studied, took her classes at the Broad Academy. So you remember last week we talked about the Broad Academy and comparing how what their mission is, and then I spoke about Robert Runchie. He's the superintendent. He was the superintendent of schools in Broward County, and he was he was superintendent where when when the school shooting took place there in Florida, you know, and the things that he done down there, and he was, and Robert Runchie was alumni. You remember I talked to you guys about that. I told you guys you could go fact check it and look it up yourselves too, and find out, which I hope you have done. I hope y'all have been checking behind me, because I give you information out of books. I give you information. I take notes. You know, that's why I don't drop and put videos out every week. I mean, every day. I'm sorry, not every. I put them out once a week, but you don't see me putting videos out every day. At the end of the day, I do have a 9 to 5, so I can't like just do that if I wanted to, like that. Um, but I feel like the things that I talk about when I'm talking about world events, if it's not local events, whatever it is, local or national news or whatever, I feel I can't come every day and talk about some of those things. Now I have to. I look up and do my research before I come and speak to the masses about anything. So if you go back and look at the videos from the beginning of me talking about the Guilford County school system, watch them and you'll see that it's just every week I'm giving you more and more information, and it's all, you know, tying into how I believe Miss Sharon Contreras, you know, is part of that broad academy. I can't say because I have not found information on it, so I can't say that she actually is, but I believe that she's part of it. You know, I believe that she probably has uh, taken the course under them. I believe that she has connection to that because everything that she does, the way that she moves, her dictatorship attitude speaks how we're you know, we keep seeing her going, and we seen and heard her asking for more funding for the schools, but not seeing nothing done. Uh, the moving around of these principals and these schools and things of that nature, her feeling as though she's above the people who hired her, who she's just a secretary to the board. You know, she wants to like X them out, which I feel like that was, you know, with them. I understand what they were trying to do. Let her, you know, they took the back seat and allow her, gave her a little more leeway to do things during the height of COVID for the school system, for the children. She didn't do right by that, and they spoke on that, you know, wanting to get that power back. She's not trying to let she's not trying she's gonna try to hold on to that as long as she can to running things how she wants to run it, because those board members who do support her, they're not gonna, you know, go against her, you know. So what we seeing here is somebody that wants to run a dictatorship. What we seeing here is somebody who doesn't care about the children, doesn't care about the parents and their time, and don't care about what the parents think. She doesn't feel the need to come and address the people at a time like this. This is when, if you're a leader, this is when leaders step up, and you step up to the plate and do what you need to do. But you know, I say, when last year when I heard, and I mean that thing, that let me know everything right there. When Sharon Contreras was trying to run for the Secretary of Education under the Biden administration, when that came out of the news late last year, late 2020 or whatever, or early 2021, when that came out, I said, wow, how could you be in the height of the pandemic? Excuse me, folks. It is. What time is it now? It's a little after 1 a.m. July 29th, Thursday morning. So yeah, pardon me for that. But yeah, when I seen when they spoke on that in the media, I said, wow, the height of pandemic. You're talking about trying to run for the Secretary of State. You haven't even made no strides here yet that we can actually say that we're proud of. I mean, she came from Syracuse in a hurting district. She jacked up their system up there, you know, so much so she had to get up out of there and ran up out of there, and they grabbed her here, you know, and now she's here, and I've been in her presence twice, and I tell you this, that lady don't know. She don't know what she's doing, man. And you know, it took me a while to speak up about it because I was talking about so many other things, and I had this page going on since I created this YouTube page here back years ago. This page is like over 10 years old, but I hadn't done anything with it in a long time. I have quite a few videos on here, but it was for a long time I hadn't done anything with it. But when COVID started, I felt the need to come out and start talking. I felt like the Most High touched me and told me to talk. And I started talking, and I started trying to just really just motivate people and talk and inspire people, you know, as best as I can, because I knew that was a time of, during the height of COVID, people were just, messed up, just trying to figure things out, you know, and I was just felt compelled, and I felt like the Most High pushed me in that direction. So I opened my page back up, and I started talking back. I started back talking, started back posting videos. I want to say maybe late March, early April 2020 of last year. And so every week I've been dropping videos. I drop a video. Every now and then I may drop 2 videos in 1 week. But so I was just talking about a lot of other things, but I always knew that I wanted to talk about the school system here because I always felt like something was wrong. I just didn't know. Like, I was like, why isn't anyone talking about what's going on here? I mean, there's something seriously going on here. Like, I mean, it's like too many people are quiet that shouldn't be quiet. And when we talk about, I'm talking to my people right now. When I look at those people on that board and I see I see the majority is black people on that board, it freaking disgusts me. Because how could we talk about all of this? Oh, we talk about being oppressed and the oppressor did this. Oh, the white man did this, they did that. No, we do shit to ourselves. And you guys are sitting there on that board and you are stabbing these children in the freaking back and kicking us parents in the mouth. That's what you're doing. And it's sickening to sit there and I thought COVID would woke a lot of people up. But you know what's crazy? People still do. You got the same mentality. It's no change. These kids deserve better. They're going to get better. You people are hanging these children out to dry. You people will take a job and took an oath to service these children in these communities. I don't care what every school system in this city is in the same boat. Because if you're getting any assistance, if your school is getting any assistance from the government, you are in the same boat. There are rules and regulations and guidelines. They ain't giving up that money. They ain't giving up money for nothing. So now school, COVID had school, kids were doing remote learning. But so now all of a sudden, you got schools, a dozen schools around the city of Greensboro here, within the city here, that are restart schools. What the is a restart school? Oh, those are underachieving schools. So, Ms. Contreras, if you're so much for education, why you got that many unachieving schools? Huh? Why do we have that many underachieving schools? Then we have programs, then we have people like this Broad Academy that weren't even an accredited program. We have this thing like Broad Academy that preaches and talks about, oh, they all for the urban community and this and that. Then you have families, it's 3 families that are 3 billionaire families that are all for the reform of education. It's the Walton. It was Bill Gates and Melinda, and then it was Eli and Edith Broad of the Broad Academy. Now, what's funnier to me is when I look back at all the people, not to knock nothing, some of them went to college, but that ain't their mission. Their mission is trying to control the population, control the minds of people. My thing is this: if the Walton's so much down with, education and everything, then why your programs ain't heard of, or what you trying to do for your own employees, huh? And Bill Gates, you know what I'm saying? Like, you trying to control the population, man. So I figure that's why Melinda trying to leave you then. You know what I mean? Because she figured that she ain't down with what she doing. You know? So Eli Broad has just passed away in April. He was in his 80s. He created the Broad Academy. Wasn't accredited, anything like that. He paid his way into, like, he graduated from Michigan State University. He paid them so he can have a school of business in his name. And we know those things go on. So as lately, he paid his way, paid Yale $100 million to create a school of business. Now, I'm going to read an article from 2019, the Forbes magazine, and they talk about the Broad Academy and Eli Broad and Edith Broad. And I told you guys last week, I said I was going to dive in this week and break down who are the people behind the Broad Academy, and that is the man behind the Broad Academy. But what's funny is if you go to the Broad Academy's website, you never see anything, you never see this guy's name. But he was an entrepreneur. He was a pioneer in the what was the industry he was in here? Yeah, he was into insurance and all of that things like that. He was a billionaire, $6.7 billion, and he created this school, and it's like they plant people around the country in different urban communities. The Broad Academy is always about, they're about getting into the urban community. The same as the teach what is that? What is the name of that program? Teach for America. Yeah, they talk this urban community thing and getting in the urban communities that's underprivileged, and they know that, So it's like, okay, if all of you people are helping out the urban community, then why are we still having problems? Why are they still underserved? So I'm gonna dive in because I had some questions. I had questions. My question was I was wondering. When I was doing my research, a week ago, I was wondering. I was like, what is it? What is in it for Yale? Why would Yale want to take on a program like Broad Academy? They don't even look at students. They don't look at education as they should. These people look at students like they look at the education system as a management, like it's a retail. Broad Academy is in Yale School of Management. Is part of Yale School of Management. This is how the Broad Academy looks at education. They look at superintendents as managers. Let's read about it here. shall we? Let's read about it here. Let me move y'all up for a minute here. Let's read about it here. Let me ask this right here. Okay, billionaire Eli Broad has long worked to impose business solutions on the U.S. education, believing that education has a management problem, not an education problem. As a Broad fan, he quoted in the Washington Post, "You think a superintendent is like the lead principal or lead teacher for a school district, but you have to think more like a CEO of a major corporation. It's not unlike the belief that a private sector CEO doesn't need to know about the industry in which he's working. He just needs to be a good CEO." Broad is a bit of a scraper who has described himself as a sore winner. He has backed his version of education reform in many ways, from pushing a plan to put half of Los Angeles students in charter schools to making big money pushes for his favored LAUSD board candidates. His foundation disperses money to many of the big ed reform groups. And in 2014, he approached former Arnie Duncan aide Peter Cunningham about creating a sort of war room rapid response press outfit to get the reformer point of view out there. Education Post was the result. The Broad Foundation has been one of the big three funders of education reform, just behind the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the Walton Family Foundation. The foundation's aim to advance entrepreneurship for education, favoring business models over traditional democratic ones. They literally wrote a handbook for closing down and replacing public schools. I'm going to read that line again. I'm going to start right here. The Broad Foundation has been one of the big three funders of education reform. Okay? Wow, I almost lost my pot. Just behind the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the Walton Family Foundation. The foundations aim to advance entrepreneurship for education, favoring business models over traditional democratic ones. They literally wrote a handbook for closing down and replacing public schools. Sound familiar? Perhaps most central to Broad's vision for remaking U.S. education is the Broad Academy, created in 2002 and part of the Broad Center for the Management of School Systems. The Academy was an unaccredited training program. The Broad Academy was an unaccredited training program for CEO flavored school system leaders. That's what the Broad Academy, they don't call them superintendent, they call them leaders, educational leaders. Where I'm at, y'all. Almost lost my. Much like Teach for America, which Broad has also supported and which has produced many academy graduates, is a training program that has existed deliberately outside of the traditional programs that prepare educators and education leaders. Unlike a traditional graduate school program, the Academy has had no faculty and meets for just a few weeks, now 5, originally fewer per year. So the Broad Academy had no faculty. They didn't even have a faculty. They weren't accredited, and they would meet like 5 times a year, maybe fewer than that. Like, it, let me continue on, shall we? The goal has been to create a pipeline for broad-minded school leaders to move into and transform school systems from the inside to more closely fit Broad's vision of how a school system should work. Through a residency program, Broad often sweetens the spot often sweetens the pot by paying the salary of these managers, making them a free gift to the district. I'm gonna read that again so y'all can catch what that said. I'm gonna read that whole paragraph one more time so y'all can catch this. The goal has been to create a pipeline for broad-minded school leaders. They call superintendents of school leaders. If you go to the Broad Academy's website, now you can go to Yale SOM, which is Yale School of Management, and you'll go there and you'll see the Broad Academy. They're part of that. And when you read it, even if you just go to the Broad Academy website, you'll read it. They address superintendents. They call the superintendents managers or school leaders. Like, it's crazy. I'm going to read that again. The goal has been to create a pipeline for broad-minded school leaders to move into and transform school systems from the inside to more closely fit Broad's vision of how the school system should work. Through a residency program, Broad often sweetens the pot by paying the salary of these managers, making them a free gift to the district. A 2012 memo indicated a desire to create a group of influential leaders who could accelerate the pace of reform. So, Eli of the Broad Academy, they will pay the salary. So, for instance, let's just say Sharon Contreras, they send her here, right? They ain't gotta pay. He will pay the salary because he wants to push his agenda. Anybody that's part of the Broad Academy is gonna push the agenda of Eli Manning. He's down for reform. They wanted to close down public schools. That's why you seen at one point it was so many charter schools. It was this charter school thing became, and then you hearing so many different stories about some charter schools where it's always a money issue, and some of them get shut down. Like, we're gonna move on. How have Broad graduates fared in the real world of education? This gonna be interesting, right? Many of the most familiar names are familiar precisely because of their level of failure. Robert Bobb had a lackluster showing in Detroit. John Claude Brizard received a 95% no confidence vote from Rochester teachers, then went on to a disastrous term of office in Chicago. Oakland, California has seen a string of Broad superintendents, all with a short and unhappy tenure. Christopher Surf created a steady drumbeat of controversy in New Jersey. Chris Barbic was put in charge of Tennessee's Achievement School District and resigned with all of his goals unfulfilled, and recommended another Broad grad as his replacement, John Deasy. John Deasy's time at LA schools ended with a hugely expensive technology failure. Broad has at times shown tight control over his folks. In one infamous case, John Covington left his superintendent position in Kansas abruptly, leaving stunned school leaders. Not until 5 years later did they learn the truth. Eli Broad had called from Spain and told Covington to take a job in Detroit. Broad, now in his mid-80s, is not getting any younger. The center was finally accredited in 2015. In 2017, he announced his retirement from his foundation. And this week, the news that the Eli and Edith Broad Foundation was giving $100 million to Yale School of Management to establish the Broad Center there, moving his program from LA to Ivory Halls. It's one more sign of his philosophy that the Academy's new home is a school of management and not in a department focused on education. There's a little to point to in this last 20 years that would suggest that a slightly trained educational amateur who thinks like a CEO is a good bet for running a school system well. Broadies have certainly found their way to positions of power and established lucrative careers for themselves, but there is little evidence that they have benefited students. Whether Broad is hoping to buy a vineyard of legitimacy for his program or is trying to secure a legacy through the program, the case for treating school districts like businesses still hasn't been made. And it says something about the argument that the Broad Center has focused on urban schools and not the school systems of wealthy communities. Yale is a well-regarded school, and 100 million is a lot of money, but that does not mean that the Broad Center is a good idea. So that's what sums it up right there for you. Now, like I said, that was in the Forbes magazine, right? This was in the Forbes magazine. This was from get the exact date for you guys. This was published December the 8th, 2019 at 10:10 a.m. in the Forbes magazine. Uh, yeah, it was the editor's pick. That article I just read you about the Broad Academy, that just summed up everything. And this has been everything I've been talking about for the past 2 months about the behavior of Miss Contreras. And one that they didn't put in there, Robert Runcie, he was a superintendent down there in Broward County. Uh, he he also was an alumni of the Broad Academy. So none of, like, what's the benefit? Like, he's just want to push his agenda, so he created a school to train up people to do to handle his agenda. But it was a failure, and he focused on urban schools. And I'm trying to understand, like, what were they getting out of what was supposed to be the real, like, what was the gain? What's the gain from this? So now you have Eli's passed on. Uh, so now I guess the estate is just running things now, and there's no real mission. You got people out here like Sharon Contreras, and they have no care in the world for these students. They don't care. It's no real. It's like a car just running down a speeding highway. That's how I look at Sharon Contreras and this whole Guilford County board. You know, the whole board of education, the members and everything. I'm just looking at it as a speeding car going down a highway, and it's bound to come to a wreck. You got schools starting up. You don't have no real direction. You still got parents asking questions about certain things. We're talking about masks. Why is that really a question? You know, to be honest with you, like, if we're adults, we should lead by example. Because who said that who said that the COVID was actually gone? I mean, let's be real, regardless of whatever our beliefs are, something's going on. Something was going on. Something was happening. So regardless of what our beliefs are, whether you want to believe that COVID was real or not, something was going on. And we got to protect the babies. So they're going to do what they see us do. And all I'm saying, and once again, ladies and gentlemen, is just to take hold of your children. And it's time. Get close to your children. I hope that you've been close to them. Get closer to them. Pay attention to them. Make sure you're speaking to them more, if more so than ever. Continue to inquire about what's going on in these classrooms, because as we know, that's another thing we haven't heard of as like a lot of things. What's going to happen? How long are parents going to be locked out of the schools now? Because with COVID, when it kicked off last year, parents, we were locked out of the school. You just drop your kid off and you got to keep it pushing. Pick your kid up. You can't even just come in and pop up on your kid or have lunch with your kid or just come check and see how they's doing. You know, do the regular parent checkup on your kid while they in school. You can't do it. So it's like, how long are we gonna be down from that? When are we gonna be able to do that? We're talking about masks. Why is that really a real topic? Hey, if the kids gotta wear them, they gotta wear them. You know, um, it's a lot of things that I don't agree with. Um, and just the disrespect that I feel for parents that the superintendent has. She doesn't have a level of respect, but you see, that's what a dictator. That's how she has all the forms of a dictator. See, she's running the Guilford County school system as a manager. Like we have a city manager. You're a superintendent. You're a secretary to the board. You do your job that they hired you to do. Okay? You're not over the board. They hired you, sweetie. You're to do the job. And your job is to make sure students are getting all that they should have. But you consistently keep asking for money and we're not seeing nothing. We still haven't heard of anything being done. What's going on with the $229 million that the county gave up to you? On top of what was it? On top of you getting the 10.1 million from the 3 schools from the tornado, the insurance money. On top of another 15 million that was given to you weeks prior before the 229 million. So it's like $254 million. What are you doing with this money? Why? We should be hearing some things working. We need to be hearing some bulldozers knocking down and rebuilding some things. We need to be seeing a lot of movement going on with some things. We need to be hearing about projects being done. You look on Guilford County School website. We don't even know. You know what's going to be funny too? I watched the board and they sat there and they talked about, they had a press conference. I guess it was like, whatever that shit was. They were asking them about the schools and the raises for the teachers. My thing is, when these schools starts back, they need so many teachers. They couldn't even give a correct answer on how many teachers they need. How many? All they knew was, we have X amount of schools that we got like 12 schools that we need teachers in them. They are the priority schools. But you're giving bonuses and you got these stipulations on these bonuses. If you need help, you need to give bonuses to everybody coming through the door that has the qualification, period. Because you need teachers. So you need to be having it up bonuses to everything. And let's just be clear here. Let's not act like, it's just a shortage of teachers just because there's a shortage. No, y'all lost a lot of teachers. Guilford County Schools lost a lot of teachers during COVID. Okay? They ain't had time to keep playing around with y'all. Y'all was not handling y'all business. Y'all was not organized. Once again, you cannot blame you guys, cannot blame Sharon Contreras or the board members or anybody for the natural cause of what COVID brought. Can't fault y'all for that. What I fault you for is not being prepared after the fact of getting it together. You never got it together because everybody went home and laid down and waited to see what the president was going to hand down to the governor at that time. because everybody in every state around this country, when you think about the cases of COVID, if we want to get into that, it was very little cases. If we want to go back and think about the COVID cases, you heard about the first case in Washington State. That guy traveled across the country and came to Raleigh, North Carolina. It was one case in North Carolina. But when people heard certain places were spiking up, like New York, California, even Florida, and then you heard the president say they were going to be giving money, it was like every state started yelling out that they got cases now. So it was a lot of money being funneled through these states for so many things. And it just amazes me that everybody just went home and sat on their hands and waited to see what they was going to be able to get, what part of that budget was going to have their name on it or whatever, their city and their state or whatever, their county or whatever. So those funds come in, then what's going on? Why these students, why we ain't hearing nothing? You got programs like ACES program. Why ain't hearing nothing about that? There's a lot of parents that depend on those programs right there for when they work or whatever like that. They depend on those after school programs right there, that aftercare program right there. Y'all talked about the county, the board talked about how they were going to be going up on the cost of it, but you still don't have a schedule. Like, is it going to happen? Is you going to have that? See, there's a lot of unorganized things going on there. The communication is totally off. But I worked in management, okay? And she's running it. And I've said this. But now as I read weekly to you guys, my findings, I just read that to you in the Forbes and they broke it down to how I was already breaking it down, but I didn't have names. I was just calling it how I was seeing it. But as I start doing more research and reading and sharing with you guys, I'm sharing with you guys so you can understand what we are dealing with here. We are dealing with somebody that has no experience. She's looking at the education system from a whole nother lens that doesn't pertain to education. She's all wrong. She got it wrong. And anybody that came up under that broad academy, they got it wrong. You see, you only had to go to the broad academy for like 6 months or something like that, do a 6-month course or something like that, and they're supposed to teach you how to manage your school, because they prey on superintendents, and then the superintendents get in, and then the superintendents kind of like recruit or pick out or find the people that they know that they may feel that will help fulfill the mission of the broad academy and whatever. So then you'll find principals and good teachers that have been in this school for so many years. You start to see them getting moved around to different places. It's all part of the game. This is not a conspiracy theory, folks. Please don't mistake it. This is real. That's why I'm reading. I read to you guys. I don't come with no BS and nothing. I come to you with what I read. I come to you with notes and everything. I don't play games when it comes to that. And as I said, the Teach for America and the Broad Academy, they're two in the same. They both speak that about they want to help the urban community. But as I said earlier, if we have all the you folks, if we have these different organizations helping the urban community, the schools in the urban community, we shouldn't have any problems. Our kids should be on point. And I'll say this again. I said it before and I'm going to say it again. The charter school thing is all part of Broad Academy mission. You know, I feel like they want to keep these kids uneducated because if the kids already have the kids today have their fingertips, the world at their fingertips, and if these kids just these kids are a threat to these type people like the Eli's, the Walton, the Bill Gates, and that these kids are a threat because you have to remember, even from my generation, we didn't have we didn't have the technology that these children have today. We weren't privy to be able to talk to other people on a computer in a whole nother country. So some of us some of us kids never left their city. Some kids never left their neighborhood. They lived in a 5 block radius their whole freaking life. And some people still live that way. But these kids, they got so much more than what we had. And you have those that are threatened by it. They don't want to lose their riches. They don't want to lose their power. And they come in and they're coming in and they're trying to pose as if they want to help. They don't want to help. They come here, they're demons. They come here they come in and they want to destroy. They want to keep their foot on people's backs. They don't want them to get up. They want to keep them down. Because the longer they keep you down, the longer they can reign supreme and in their families and will continue to be wealthy. But we cannot have that on our watch. That's why I continuously say, I'm down for the cause. I can't do it by myself. But until I see otherwise, I'm down with to teach one. Each one teach one. I have a lot of people hit me in my inbox and they say, oh, you should run for the board. Yeah, I will. If I see more people requesting it, because it's about the people. But first, those people that's in there got to go. It got to be a whole overhaul for me to come up in there, because then it'll be pointless for someone with my thought pattern to be around people like that, because they got a whole system going on that it will do nothing but make me frustrated. It will do nothing. It will do me. It will do the community. It would do the county no good, and it would do me no good. So therefore, I would rather continue to speak, put together organized type walks and things of that nature. I would rather put together things of that nature and keep informing the people. That's why I ask that you continue to pass these videos around. Continue. I understand as working class folks, I understand that some people don't, some things that whatever may come through the news or the media, some may not get to see it sometimes. I understand. I'm a working parent as well, so I understand that. And that's why I come to you guys once a week, and I make sure that I'm prepared, because I thank you guys for your time, for even watching me and listening, the few that are. And so I make sure that I come prepared, and I have notes, and I'm breaking down things to you guys, and I'm not just shooting things off the hip and just saying crazy things off the top of my head. Everything that I say to you is written, not from me. It's written, and my notes are taken from what I read. Whether it be book, i.e., internet, or someone shared something, some literature with me, whatever it is. If somebody shares something with me, I fact check it before I even talk about it. But Yeah, we gotta make sure we keep hold of these babies. Um, just make sure this school year, folks, you be talking to our children more. Ask them what's going on, how your day, what you learning today, what they showing you today, what you know, how you feeling, you know. Stay up with your children. Make sure you keep pumping in their head. What do they keep asking them? What do you want to be? Especially the young ones. Especially the young ones. Continue to ask them. Continue to ask your second and third grader. Continue to focus in and hone in on what is it that they take into, because we all know not every kid is athletic. So let's focus on, if you got you an artist on hand, you got you a little artist in development, you know, they liking to draw. Whether we may know what it is they drawing or not. They're inspiring to be. And we have to focus in on that. Keep a tight watch on it. We are these children keeper. We gotta keep them, because you got these people that sitting here on the board, and you got the superintendent. These folks don't care about these children, man. And as I said, I sit there, and these people are black. So if we're gonna talk race and color, I'm a black man. I look at you folks. You sit up there. Sharon Contreras. You're a mixed Afro Latino. You have African American women sitting on that board, and I say to you, don't talk that black power shit to me. Black power is inserting that shit into them children. Black power is not playing around with them children. Black power is knowing how we've been had foots on our backs, and how we've been oppressed, suppressed, and depressed. And then your own kind gonna do it. But then talk about what the white man done. No, it was the forefathers of the white man's what they done. And then our own kind sitting here piggybacking off of that shit and continuing to do it, and you're doing it to these children. Ashamed. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves to be sitting on a board, and you people been sitting on a board in city council. Y'all been in these type of positions, bounced back and forth for years. What have you done? What have you done? There's nothing in the community for these children to do. Children so tied up with you. As a parent, you gotta get your kid away from the computer and stuff, or off of their iPads and things, and try to get them out and do things. You gotta pay for your child to have a good time now. For a freaking child, you have to pay for your child to have fun now. Where's the rec centers at? What are you board members? What are you city council people? What are you doing? We always talk about get back. We always talk about all these kids are bad, but you got programs in these schools where you turn in the cheek pretty much on the ignorance that these children are doing. The promise agreement. Y'all guys, you got things like that going on. Who is the promise to, and who you agree with? Because these kids is hurting, and they messed up. So for all the times I looked around and I'm like, yo, you know, for a good while, years ago, I was like, why the elders ain't speaking up? And I started thinking, like, what do you mean why the elders ain't speaking up? You are the elder now. You are an elder now. They look at you. They look at, you got the young kids. They look at somebody like me now, and it's like OG, that new little term OG. It's like, no, you are the OG now. You have to say something. We can't keep laughing and tap dancing out here. These kids is, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, we all in the same boat. If your kid is go to a school in this county, don't think that you better than a kid in the inner city, inside the city of Greensboro. If your kid go to a school in Guilford County, out in the county, don't think that your kid is better. Oh no, you're getting the same treatment. You getting the same treatment. Okay, maybe your school may look a little better, but you're getting the same treatment. Your school still doesn't have any security. Yeah, you still don't have any. The technology still is crap. Yeah, yeah. You're gonna be in the same boat like everybody else. There's not a lot of teachers. They lost a lot during COVID. They just can't do it. Just the whole system. So let's not act like that's the funny thing to me when I listen to them talk about that. And they're gonna get bonuses for this or whatever to entice the teachers to come. And I'm like, you need to get a bonus to every teacher that you can get your hands on that's gonna come, because you lost teachers. There's a difference from you just not having teachers left. Let's remember that. That's all I'm saying, man. We can't continue to let these people play our face. You see, but people have been playing these games for so long, and as I said a while ago, bad behavior. When you have like bad behavior, that's Contreras come from Syracuse. She wasn't doing right up there. Them people ran her out of there. They didn't want her there. She got up out of there. She wandered up here, and the behavior just followed her, man. When you got bad behavior, it just doesn't cut off like that. You know, you have to want to change. She doesn't want to change. I think she really came here to Guilford County and they enabled her. And now she's a beast. She doesn't care to talk to anybody. She wants to act like everybody's coming at her. But you're not doing your job, sweetie. We're not seeing receipts, sweetie. Let's not forget that the county even asked, "What are you doing? You asked for money. Why haven't we seen anybody coming with receipts for work done so we can pay them? What's going on?" They had to go behind you, Contreras. They had to get a team together to go and figure out like what's needed so we can know. Like what's needed, because we not understanding. Like, she coming for money, but you ain't seeing nothing done. Look, man. Our people, we always so quick to try to put somebody else on. We be trying to put each other on. But yo, if you're gonna put somebody on that's gonna continue to help. You know, you got somebody like Contreras come here and she's tearing up. She's not even caring about the kids in this community. And you got people that been on that board that been around the block here. They know how the system go. They done been from the city council to then on the board. They know how this thing go. When you let somebody like her come in, people already didn't have trust in some of you folks already, you know. And then they wonder why, you know. I was so much taken back to finding out that these board members aren't the districts they represent. They can't even just go visit those schools. The school has to invite them. So how you gonna fight for some school that you ain't never go in? You don't even know what they need. You don't even know what the needs are. You don't even know what it looks like. You don't even know what one classroom looks like. You don't even know what their challenges are, because you can't even just go to the school in your district. How you representing something? How you gonna say you represent something and you can't even go and have sit downs with them on your own? How you representing something you know nothing about? Doesn't make sense. but it makes a lot of sense. Because if you don't plan to do no work anyway, you don't care. Everybody's sitting there for whatever personal gains, personal, their own agendas. They had an inside scoop on things around the city. Yeah. But I'm going to keep talking and I ain't going to stop talking. And if the people want me to be, then I'm going to be. But for now, it's each one teach one. That's what Space Invaders always been about. And that's what we're going to continue to be about. There's a history with this thing, Space Invaders here. I just ain't pop up here, ladies and gentlemen. You know, been around. Space Invaders is a branch off of a TV show I used to have called GGN TV. Yeah. And I was in the community of Greensboro here. We ran around a lot of places around Carolina and, talked to different people and shine light on people that were just doing things in the community, from local businesses to college students to models, aspiring models to the nightlife to, we try to do it all. We try to talk all and just shine light on the city, on a positive tip here. So Space Invaders goes back as a history with that. We did films here. So there's a history with this. This ain't nothing that just popped up, so just to give y'all a brief understanding of that again, Space Invaders has been around. I've been, before social media and YouTube has become what it is now. I was already doing that, but off and on. I was already on it. You scroll down my list of videos and go all the way to the end, you will see that I was there. I was here, but I stepped away from it. I had no desire, but when COVID came, I was touched and felt that I needed to talk and inspire the people, and because of so much of hearing COVID and death toll and how many more people are sick every day. You turn on the news, it looked like the stock exchange. You just running across the timeline. That would drive people crazy. So then they wondering why people are not coming out to work. People had anxieties from that. So some people just not gonna come out. It's gonna take a minute. They want to blame all of that on they're giving more people unemployment, so they don't want to come out and work. Yeah, that may be some of it too, but then we got to think about it. A lot of people may have dealt with a lot of mental issues. Some people lost family members. That can take a toll on a person's mental. For so many, last year they were told, don't go in the house. Don't come out. Quarantine. You go out, put a mask. Social distance. You gotta watch what you do here. The food is something contaminated with the meat. We having problems in the meat packaging plant. There's so much stuff. It was overwhelming. So you have to really step back and think. Like, I'm gonna wrap it up, folks. But the world as we know it is over. It's a new day. It's a new world. You can't fight the force. And what we have is people fighting the force of change. But this fight right here, we got to take care of these children. You got to do right by these children. They swore, they took an oath to do right. And until they do right by these children, they ain't gonna be blessed, man. They ain't gonna be blessed. And that's just it. You know, those guys' kids, we all God's children. And if you gonna sit there and stick a knife in these children's backs, like they doing them and selling them out for different programs, and then got restart schools, why we not talking to parents more about these restart schools, Miss Contreras? How you just gonna spring that up? School was pretty much out of commission last year. Kids was going to school from remote learning. Okay, then all of a sudden we pop up talking about, oh, these are restart school. What the is a restart school? That sounds a little disrespectful to me. I guess that was part of the deal of getting some type of funding. You had to sell out the kids and say, put them down as, you know, struggling schools. You had to say they were struggling schools so you could get a certain amount of money, huh? I know what time it is. I got the papers. But hey, I'm your guy, Rashawn. I thank y'all for watching. Please make sure that y'all share this video. Make sure you tell a friend and tell a friend. What we spoke about today or this morning was the Broad Academy and Eli Broad and Edith Broad, founders of the Broad Academy, their mission, and what the Broad Academy is. The Broad Academy was an accredited program, and all about educational reform, however, and it was a billionaire, Eli Broad, a billionaire. He just trying to push his agenda, and you know the Broad Academy. One of their missions, as I read it off to you, was to shut down public schools and have a bunch of charter schools. And charter schools aren't, you know, people have their different views of the charter schools, but what you just need to do is upgrade these public school systems. Meet these children where they stand at. All this charter school, all these Montessori, all of this different stuff. Listen, all you need to do is upgrade these school systems, the education, the upgrade it. Meet these children where they stand at, and let's educate these kids. You know, if we talk about STEM, well, we need to go hard on that STEM. Go hard on these STEM programs. That's what need to be consistently drilled in every public high school around this country. Every school around this country. It shouldn't be division. We got too much division in this country that it pours out through the school system. You see it. These school systems have become, it's become so political because, excuse me, folks. It becomes so political because you have people like Eli and Edith Broad, the Walton family, Bill Gates, that are special interests. That is what you call special interest groups. That's what those are. They have a special interest, and it ain't in what the masses' interests are. Yeah, that's my time, Rashawn. I'm your guy, Rashawn. That's my time. I will talk to y'all next week. I hope that y'all gain some more information this week. I'm gonna encourage y'all to continue to dive in and research as well. And fact check me as well. Let's continue to talk. Let's continue to share these videos and get it around. And like I said, if the people want me in as to be on the board, then I shall sit. But I really can't do it while them folks is in there. I really can't. It's a waste of time. I can't sit with people that look at education system as a management like company, or like they're a CEO of a, that's the whole get down. That's what, We just read that. I mean, and I've been speaking about that whole thing. Like, she's not running this like as she should. I can't sit with people that hire the employer like the employee run them like that, and they don't take no control. I can't be around nothing like that. You know, these people out here looking real bad. On that board looking real bad. You know, you supposed to be doing a job for children, and you looking real bad because we want to talk that we want to talk that black power stuff. You looking real bad because you black, and while y'all playing with these black children, that's all I'm saying. Why y'all playing with these children? Period. Period. Point blank. You took an oath to service these children. Do your jobs, man. Plot, plan, strategize. If y'all was doing that during the height of the pandemic last year in 2020, if y'all would have been doing plot, plan, and strategize, we should hear a whole layout of the school year, what's going on, everything. God bless to all the children on this upcoming school year. God bless to the teachers. I feel for some of y'all because I believe that y'all are gonna have a heavy workload. I seriously believe that some of these teachers are gonna have like overcapacitated classrooms because they ain't gonna have enough teachers. Peace and blessings, y'all. I'm your guy, Rashawn. Until next time, y'all be safe.